Hello, everyone. How are we doing on this happy Tuesday afternoon? Welcome to the Wave 1 release for Dynamics 365 applications. We wanted to present to you all, maybe to get up to speed on some of those changes that you can expect for the early part of this year as we add the new functionalities and updates into our Dynamics 365 applications. To get us started off, because maybe not everybody knows who Boyer is. Hello, happy to meet you. If you're not sure who we are as an organization, it's our birthday this year, thus the 30 behind me. People keep saying, "Are you 30?" I wish. Bless you for thinking I am. No, Boyer is 30. We are headquartered here in Minnesota, but we have consultants all across the United States. We have 450 clients nationwide, and we are actually one of the top Microsoft partners when it comes to migrating clients to the cloud. So if you're currently on-prem and thinking about moving to the cloud, we can help you with that if you are wondering about that. And a lot of our clients are actually nonprofits. So I am actually going to cover the cloud for nonprofit. There were a couple of bugs that were resolved, so we'll make sure to cover those too if you happen to be in that nonprofit space as well. So again, happy to have you all here. Thanks for joining us. What I have for our agenda today, I want to talk about this thing that Microsoft has built for us, which is the release planner. You're maybe familiar with it, you're maybe not. It's a couple years old at this point, but I don't feel like I've encountered a ton of people that know that it's out there. So I like to show it off a little bit in case you haven't seen it yet. Definitely, I would bookmark that one and go back to it. It's kind of my own personal Bible when I'm trying to learn about what's coming in these release waves, and I go to it often. So I'll share that functionality with you all. We'll talk about the sad deprecations, the things that we are losing. We have a few things we're losing in sales and customer service, but oftentimes Microsoft has some alternatives for us for those things that are going away. So we'll talk about that too. Then I have the highlights here for not all of our Dynamics 365 apps, but the big ones for the clients that we support here at Boyer. We're going to talk about what's coming in sales, customer service, customer insights journeys, which if you're not familiar with the lingo, the old marketing app. And we will also, again, touch on that fundraising and engagement application for those nonprofit folks. I've also put my email address on the bottom of the slide here too, which reminds me, I'm going to share this slide deck with you all as well. I just put it into the chat. Throughout the slide deck, I want to give you some resources. One, I think that release planner is a great resource, so we'll talk about that. The other thing too is in this slide deck that we're going to go through together, I'm a big fan of citing sources. And so we're going to have a bunch of links here that'll take you directly to the Microsoft documentation. If there's something you're like, ooh, I really want this, or ooh, I'm really scared this is going away, we'll have links to some of that stuff. So again, you can get straight to the source from Microsoft and then again, use this as a reference. Again, I won't be going over everything. Obviously, we're not doing all of the Dynamics 365 apps, but we are going to go over what's in generally available now. I couldn't help myself. There are a couple of preview features I'm going to talk about too because they're so fun. But basically, we're going to go through that what's new list, and anything that has a green check, we're going to highlight and talk about. Those are things that are available right now. You could start using today. Even stuff in preview, you could check it out today. All right, let's dive into this then and talk a little bit about that release planner that I was mentioning. As you can see on the slide up at the top, I put the link to this. So again, you can feel free to read through the release notes. They offer them as a PDF. In fact, you can get to that PDF here from the release planner website as well. If you're old school and want to just read through it. The thing I like about this one is it has kind of all of the pieces pieces, the navigation that I'm going to use on the left-hand side. So you can see it's broken into two pieces. Last month did a webinar on everything that's new in Power Platform. This month we're going to focus on everything that's in Dynamics 365. So you'll notice when you're on that release planner site, you can break it down yourself and take a look at that functionality from that sort of lens there. And again, looking in the Power apps, you can use that navigation. If you want to learn more about Power Pages, you can go there and it'll show you everything that is coming. Now, the thing that I like about this, instead of just reading through the PDF or the What's New site, is I like that I can add things to my own plan. Basically, it's my bookmark. So I can say, you know what, I am really interested in this functionality and I want to make sure that I'm keeping my eyes on it. I want to know exactly when it drops, when it's ready for me to use. So I'm going to add that to my personal plan. So easy to do with that little plus sign there. Also, they give me really nice visual indicators. We get green checks, but here we also see green things that are new, things that are updated. Up across the top too, oops, I thought I had an animation there, my bad. Up across the top, you can see planned, coming soon, and try now. So that's another way to sort of filter through everything that's in these release plans too. What are the things that are not ready yet or are in preview? What are the things that are coming versus this is the stuff that's ready right now. So again, just another way to filter and sort of sift through everything that's in those release notes. When you open up one of those items, like here we can see make direct calls to the SQL Server stored procedure, I can open that up and see the details of that. And again, some links to the Microsoft documentation as well. So I can bookmark it and then I can keep my eye on it and see the last time it's been updated, if it's ready yet for me to use. So again, I definitely recommend if you're not using that release planner, I find it a more interactive experience when I'm trying to go through those pages and pages of documentation in the release planner. Oh, there's my animation. So there you go. That is your slicer there. You also have the filtering capability again to see things that are new within the last 7 days or 30 days, based on whether it's something that's enabled right away or something administrators need to enable, and availability, whether it's early access, public preview, or generally available, and also broken down by the release wave itself. So again, easy ways to find and narrow in on what you are looking for. There's another link I like to share with folks. This one is on Learn, and it's called Change History. So I put the link here too. I like this one because sometimes Microsoft gives me some dates and says that'll be ready in July. And then I go look again and it says August and I get sad. So change history is where you can see when new features get added, then I get excited. When that release date changes or if a feature is being removed, then that makes me really sad. But again, you can see that change history again because we know a lot of those things in the release waves change too. So I like to bookmark both of those pages and visit them often. Let's talk, rest in peace, some deprecations that we have here. Again, we're seeing in the sales and customer service application. So let's talk about what's leaving us in sales. So effective August 1st of 2024, so a couple of months here. If you're using the assistant, that's the light bulb icon that you see at the top of your navigation bar when you're using the sales app. That's the one that can tell you, if you have appointments coming up or opportunities closing soon. There are a bunch of those that come out of the box, but there's also this capability to make your own insight cards for things that matter to you. Now, in order to do that, you do need to have sales premium. So if you're just on enterprise, you can use the out of the box ones. If you have premium, there were these templates that we could use to make our own insight cards. Those templates are going away, but if you're premium, you still have the ability to create your own cards using Microsoft Power Automate. It's just the templates that are going away. So any cards that you maybe made using those templates, they're still going to work. I guess they're just taking the training wheels away from us, but you still have the ability to use that functionality. It's just those templates that are going away. So again, specifically for Sales Premium, the Assistant. Um, June 30th, we are losing something called the snapshot capability. Forecasting, if you're using that forecasting functionality in Dynamics 365 sales, this was also a premium feature. So if you're not a premium person, you're maybe like, I didn't know snapshots was a thing. If you had premium, what you could do in your forecast was basically take a snapshot of data and kind of keep a over a period of time, go back and look at how your forecast changed over time. And you could sort of keep that historical data. Otherwise, forecasts themselves are just sort of, this is what everything looks like as of now. Wouldn't necessarily be able to look back in the past unless you had that snapshot functionality. So again, that was for people who had premium, that they had this extra capability in forecasting. It's being taken away, so we're losing that snapshot feature, but there is an alternative for us here. So you won't be able to enable snapshots for new forecasts, but if you have existing forecasts that are using that snapshot functionality, those are going to continue to work until October 31st, 2024. So you have until Halloween, but any of your forecasts need to be set up before June 30th, and then it eventually will go away on October. Past that, all snapshots and related charts such as deal flow and the trend chart and forecast grid history are going to be removed from the interface, so you're not going to see those anymore. There is an alternative here, though, for you. There is something called the Forecast API that if you want that daily data sync to take a snapshot of what your forecast looked like on Tuesday versus Wednesday, you can use this API to do that. They're just taking that snapshot functionality away. We also have on April 1st, so we have this feature is going away, has already gone away. The configuration of seller availability through the Outlook calendar in work assignments, that is being deprecated. So this deprecation is really about enhancing security of your organization's data. So they are sort of removing that functionality, but have given us an alternative. There is something called the Dynamics 365 CRM calendar that you could configure and use to, again, sort of manage that seller availability. When are they around? Things like that. We can use this sort of baked in calendar feature for that. So if you're curious about that, if that's a pain point or something you've been missing, you do have this alternative that you could configure there. So those are our deprecations for sales. Let's talk about some deprecations for customer service. So if you are using omni-channel in customer service, maybe you were using Google Business Messages as one of your channels that your customers could reach out to you on. That is being deprecated because Google is deprecating it. Google made an announcement that they are discontinuing business messages as of July 31st. So the key dates to know on this one, business messages are done after July 1st. No new messages will be created or sent via Google's business messages. And then by July 31st, you won't even see Google messages anymore. So they will be fully deprecated and no longer accessible after July 31st. There was also with unified routing, there was, so that's the ability to assign all of your cases out to people based on various criteria for the case or the skill set of your agent. There was a functionality there called diagnostics. And it was there to sort of help me figure out my routing rules are working okay. That's being deprecated. It is being removed, has been removed. It's deprecated as of May 9th. Diagnostics for new records won't be generated, or sorry, from July 1st. No new messages there. And then it'll fully be removed in July 15th. So that's when we'll see that diagnostics button go away. We do have an alternative, though. We have conversation diagnostics in the Azure Application Insights. So there's an alternative out there for us. You can delete your routing diagnostics related data from Dataverse, and then you will use this new alternative instead. One other thing to know, in October of 2025, so we've got some time here, omni-channel for customer service on the unified service desk that is being deprecated as well. So we have some time there before that will completely go away, but just wanted to give you a heads up on that one. Now let's talk about fun stuff. Sad to talk about the things that are leaving us. Let's talk about what are we getting? What's the fun stuff? Again, at the bottom of the slide here, I just have the link to the what's new planned features. So if you want to go in and see the full list instead of just the things I'm highlighting in our time together, that's where you could go and find that link. There is where you're going to see our green checks. So again, I want to highlight the things that have green checks that we can start using now, the other things that we're still waiting for. So Microsoft always breaks up their releases into, little buckets of functionality. So we have some new Copilot functionality here when we're working in the sales application. So the first one we're going to take a look at is going to be improving productivity with natural language search in Copilot. There's a long list here, though. There is also another list with a few more checks here. So we're going to take a look at a bunch of this functionality here. The big one, no surprise, it was a big one in wave 2 of 2023 that continues on here in wave 1 in 2024. And that's all about Copilot, the big buzzword at Microsoft. Copilot is being integrated more and more into everything that we do. Copilot is great for giving me summaries on leads and opportunity records, what's been going on. It can also give me what are the things that have changed since I've looked at this lead or opportunity. What are the recent changes that have been happening? There's some cool functionality here to help us prepare for meetings. There's some great functionality to help me write first drafts of emails. And I can also use it to get some information about customer records, so about account records. So the link on the bottom of the slide here will give you kind of an overview of sort of everything Copilot, but let's take a look at some of those green checks that are available to us right now. Now, this is one where I'm cheating. This one is in preview, but you could for sure turn this on in one of your test environments. What's coming is, like I said, Copilot is being more integrated into everything that we do. So you can see in my sitemap now, when I'm in the Sales Hub app, I have Copilot right there at the top. And this is becoming Copilot in widescreen mode is what it's talking about. Currently, you possibly have that pane on the side that'll pop open and Copilot is there and I can use that. But that's kind of, small screen real estate here. So with Copilot, I started off in kind of this widescreen mode. And the nice thing about this is I'm getting my insights across different entities. When I'm using kind of that side pane, it's kind of about the record that I'm on that I'm asking questions about. So this is going to be more generic functionality. So I can get some information and some summaries and things across multiple entities here. I could use this to ask all kinds of questions in natural language. It's like I'm having some chat conversations here with Copilot. So I can ask things about any follow-up activities that I have from emails. I can ask about upcoming meetings that I have. I can be aware of things that have changed on opportunities and leads, or get a summary of all of my opportunities and leads. So again, it's using that natural language with chat to have that AI-powered conversation with Copilot to, again, get me that information as quickly as I can to deal with my deals and my meetings and all of that fun stuff as I'm using Copilot. So this is the widescreen mode. That's what's in preview right now. Some of this other functionality that we've been talking about, though, is available now. So we'll talk about that too. So here's an example when I'm in widescreen mode, and the question that I'm asking up at the top is, show me my emails that need follow-up. So then it's giving me that nice summary of, I have some pending items, I have some open questions, so I can see all of those here, and I can drill into that information some more or ask some follow-up questions. And then here too, you can see I'm in a pipeline view of sort of all of my opportunities. And as you can see, I have that first one highlighted there, and I could have Copilot give me a summary about this particular opportunity. So again, kind of a new experience here to be in this widescreen mode, but some of this functionality is already available today. So let's talk about what's available today. Summarizing an account. So if I'm on an opportunity or an account record and I open up that sort of side panel, because right, the new thing is just that it's in widescreen mode, but I can still use that side panel here and still have those chat conversations with Copilot. So here I'm asking for a summary about this account that's tied to this opportunity. You could also be on the account record and ask for a summary about this account. So it'll give me an overview about the account. Here you can see it's telling me things like the annual revenue, number of employees, where it's located. It's telling me about some recent changes that have happened, some key information. I could ask it about associated leads or opportunities, and again, get that latest news about an account. Now that one's going to pull information from the internet. So depending on the company that you're working with, might not get a bunch of information out there, but it is there. It is pretty cool functionality. If you want to learn more about it, again, that link is on the bottom of the slide. That is something that is available now. Something else that is available right now is the ability to get up to date on meetings with preparation notes. So it's actually going to, when I'm working with this record and I have a meeting coming up, I can ask Copilot about that upcoming meeting. It actually can pull in information from Outlook and Exchange. So here you can see in my chat, it's showing me not only who is invited to that meeting, but also who's accepted, who's tentative. So again, I can see all of that while I'm working within the context of the record using Copilot here in the sales application. So meetings that I can get this sort of summary and information about, any meetings that are coming up in the next 24 hours and the next 7 days. That's where I can ask about those meetings and get kind of that summary and updated information. So I can get overviews that'll include information about the meeting, the associated opportunity or record that's associated with that meeting, any open tasks or cases related to that opportunity. This is where I can see all of that information in Copilot. So really cool functionality there. Also opening up and available now, Copilot can also tell me about things that live on SharePoint. So if you have that integration between SharePoint and the Sales app, you display documents. It can also now give me summaries about that information that lives on SharePoint, which is really nice. So I don't have to bounce around between a bunch of different applications to get the information that I need. I can use Copilot and right here within Dynamics, and it'll give me those summaries and information about that. So again, hopefully maybe reduces response times in emails, maybe enhancing some of our customer interactions. Again, having that critical information, and I don't have to dig through SharePoint in order to find it. I can have Copilot help me find the information that I need. So right now, the feature will look up across all of the SharePoint files that the signed in user has access to. So there is still security here. It still takes that into account. So it's not like you're opening up this world to everyone. It still respects that security. So it'll really only show me the information that I have access to. We also have something called Copilot for timeline highlights. Now, timeline highlights you'll see called out in customer service and customer insights journeys. It's the same feature. They just put it in the different apps, right? Because not everybody uses all of the apps. But timeline highlights is available now, and it's a way to go to the timeline and again use Copilot to give me an at the glance review of any significant updates or things that are happening to this record. So I can quickly catch up on latest activities, anything related in the timeline. It can summarize key developments, activities in emails, notes, tasks, basically anything that lives in timeline. Copilot can again summarize and give me the highlights here. So again, that's going to be aggregated from all of the multiple activities and notes that you would see in a timeline. You'll see that up at the top there. That does require a little bit of configuration, but again, have the link at the bottom of the slide here to walk you through how to enable that if you're not seeing it right now, because it is available now. There is one new section here in sales underneath the revenue intelligence heading, and this is all about forecasting. Basically, this one, forecasting in the past, it required an administrator to turn it on and enable that functionality and have a forecast set up for everybody to use. With this new functionality that we got back in April 19th, we now have out of the box forecasts. So it's available for all users, and it allows users to, again, get their own forecast, get real-time updates with that forecasting functionality, and again, sort of quickly gauge their performance and strategies when it comes to sort of looking at their pipeline using that forecast functionality. So the next section that we have to talk about in sales is under the heading of sales engagement and execution. And we have some green checks here too. So let's take a look at what's generally available. We have something called sequences, and I don't know if y'all are using them yet, but they're pretty cool. So if you're not up to speed or haven't heard about sequences, I think of them as sort of like a prescription of, hey, seller, these would be the best steps to follow in this scenario. So we want you, a new lead gets assigned, you should call them the first day, and then send an email on day 4. And then on day 5, you should try calling them again. So we can set up that prescription through something called a sequence. Now, sequences historically, we've only been able to do one at a time. That's going to be changing. The other thing is we have this up next widget. That's part of what sequences are too. So that when I go to my sequence, I click on the record, it brings me the record and opens it up. And in the middle, we have this thing called the up next widget. So that would sort of identify to me, hey, this is what I need to pay attention to. This is the phone call I need to make today. And I could mark it complete and move on. What we're seeing here is the ability to see the entire sequence. So in the up next widget, it kind of gave me a preview of like what you need to do today, and then it would show me the next one, but I couldn't really see the entire sequence and all the steps that are coming. So now we're going to have this functionality where I can say, what is all of the sequence here? I know the next one is I need to send an email on day 3, but what comes after that? Now our sellers will have the ability to see the entire sequence and go through that. You'll also be able to see if there are multiple sequences. So that's part of this new update as well, is I might have a record that I need multiple people to work on, and they have different pieces to the puzzle that they need to work on. So we can now assign different sequences to different sellers on the same record. So you can guide multiple people to work together on that prescription and close out that opportunity. So for example, you might assign one sequence to an account manager and another sequence to somebody who's more of a solution architect, and they're both working on the same account simultaneously, and those sales team members can attach sequences to records, even if they're not the owner of that record. So that's a nice enhancement too. So again, sequences becoming more flexible here and a lot more information, again, with being able to see that preview. Also, if there are multiple sequences, again, I can see what those other sequences are, who the other sellers or people at my organization who are involved in this. So I'm just getting a better overall picture of what is the prescription here, what is our process. I'm getting some more visibility into that. So I think that's going to make sequences even more valuable of a tool. So I'm excited about that stuff. With seller experiences, we have a couple here that are generally available as of April. One is just the new look and feel of the application. For a few years now, well, I guess a year, we've had this little slide switch. Did you want to try the new experience? Now that's the default. So the little slide switch is now turned on, whether you like it or not. You can still turn it off if you want to. Basically, it's just a new clean style to the navigation. I don't notice a ton of difference on it. What you will notice is there are some drop shadows on things, brighter background colors. The headers, tabs, and sections and business process flows got a little bit of a revamped feel, but basically the new look and feel, the default is now that that is on, but you can still turn it off and go back to the classic experience. So try it out, see what you like, or maybe you've already noticed because this did take effect in April. We also have something that's called the focused lead view is the default. And you may have noticed this one too, because this one also came out in April. Now, when I click on leads, it not only opens up leads, it gives me this, the view, it also gives me kind of this focused list as well. So by default, I think for Microsoft to, give us a taste, see if we like it, leads are already turned on for that focused view behavior. If you go into the sales app settings, you can choose to enable it on some of those other core record types, opportunities, accounts, contacts, or you can turn it off. If your users are complaining about they don't like that new view, we can turn that off as well. So this is what it looks like. So I've just clicked on leads, and so it's kind of a marrying of the view that I was on and the first record that I have. So it gives me that focused view, and I can switch to that read only view if I like that better. So you can go back to that. So again, this is what the default is for leads. If you're enjoying this though, you could turn it on those other record types or disable it. If you're not really enjoying it, you can turn that off too. All right, let's talk about what's coming up in customer service. You can create multiple cases from emails sent to multiple mailboxes. So this one is some pretty cool functionality. So the default behavior was we had update record creation rules that would take an email, turn it into a case, but it was really only working on one mailbox. That if the same email was coming into other mailboxes, it wasn't going to necessarily convert all of those. And so if an email gets associated to each case, it will be shown on each timeline. So agents belonging to a bunch of queues to which that email was sent could then respond to those independently. So it's going to create, or it can create, multiple cases now if that's what we want it to do. Any reply from the customer to the original message is going to get associated to the case that was created in response to the original email instead of creating a new case. That's some nice functionality. If a customer replies to the original email while adding a new queue-enabled mailbox, a case gets created for the new mailbox, and the replied email messages get associated with that new case in addition to the existing cases. So again, just giving us some more visibility here when we have maybe those customers who reach out to us and multiple mailboxes. Now we can sort of get that fuller picture and some flexibility here. So I think that's some exciting functionality that we have. Agent experiences, we have a lot of green checks here. So let's start going through what some of those are. If you are using the chat capabilities within the customer service application, the transcript viewer for chat conversations is getting a facelift here too. It gets a more rich interface. You have copy paste capabilities. That's a huge one. You can see responsive transcript sizing and decreased padding between messages. So a little bit easier, a little less scrolling I have to do basically. You can expand or collapse all sections in a knowledge article. So oftentimes I need to refer to my knowledge base in order to resolve a case. And if that knowledge article is quite lengthy, it can take a while again to scroll all of that. So we now have an expand or collapse sections button. So when I open up a knowledge article, you can see I can expand all of the sections. Otherwise, they will be collapsed, and then I could open which ones I want to. And you can also see that it will sort of truncate if you have any long titles. They'll still be there. They'll just get kind of truncated there. So something to be aware of. But again, hopefully this helps with customer service agents. I don't have to do endless scrolling so much. I can dive into the section that I need, especially in longer, more complicated knowledge articles. This one I think is pretty cool. There is now a quick save feature. So when I'm working in the notes section of a case, as I start typing, I can hit Control S on my keyboard instead of having to use the save button. And you'll see I'll get a little confirmation message that says the save was successful. So I love keyboard shortcuts. I think this is a nice keyboard shortcut to have while we're working with notes. Again, this will be in the customer service app. One other thing in the customer service app, sometimes I need to pull in other experts. I'm out of my depth here, or I don't know the answer. So we have this consult functionality where I can pull in some experts, but what we're getting here now, I can specify for skills. Before it was just sort of a list of help. These are other folks at my organization who are also customer service agents. Now I have the ability to put some parameters around that. I know what I need help with. So, what are the skills? What is the language that this person speaks? Do they have some product knowledge, expertise, or proficiency to, again, help me make sure I'm finding the right person to consult with. So again, hopefully that will help us get the right person on the call quicker. We'll be able to use that skill functionality when we're looking to pull in experts to help us out with a case. And then you also will have the ability to then transfer that conversation. So I find somebody who speaks Spanish, I don't speak Spanish, I need them to take over on this case. I could then have that after the consultation, have that agent that I reached out to transfer that conversation to that agent so they can take over. Really cool stuff. We also have the ability to bring custom entities into inbox views. So as an admin, I can configure this to have any entity that's supported and enabled in the customer service workspace app to be supported within the inbox. So this is huge. Instead of just being kind of that out of the box functionality, if we have custom tables or entities within the system, I'll be able to see all of that information in one central location, which is pretty cool as well. Along with that inbox functionality in the customer service app, we also have the ability to add some sorts. I take a drink here because I'm getting a tickle. This is also something as a system administrator I can set up. Drinking didn't help. Had to cough. Sorry. Thanks, guys. As an administrator, you can configure how I want my agents to be able to sort. So again, I can choose what fields they'll be able to sort their inbox by. And then we can arrange how records are going to be displayed in that inbox view as well. Again, if you're interested in that, have the link on as an administrator, what I would need to do in order to configure that. This I find really helpful too. Now when we are searching for knowledge articles, if there were recent articles that I was viewing, I'll be able to quickly access those again. Oftentimes you would put in your search term and it just pulls you things that match there. But if what I was just working on I could use again, I now have quickly access to that recently viewed. So I don't have to type in something. I could just use that recently viewed, find that knowledge article that I just used on that other case. This functionality, again, is something that needs to be enabled by admins, but fairly simple, easy, and straightforward just to enable that setting. One other thing that I think is kind of cool, composing emails with enhanced recipient handling. If y'all know, when you're sending emails out, if I have the to field, I have to use the lookup and search for the name. Oops, I needed that to be in the CC field. Now I can drag and drop that. So that's kind of nice instead of having to type it again. Again, it's all about kind of quicker responses. So being able to drag and drop people across those different to CC and BCC fields is helpful. You can also view the recipient's email address along with their names. You'll also be able to see their presence and out of office messages. So as you can see, I'm sending an email to John Doe, and as I add his name, I see, oh, he's out of the office. And I even see that little gray bar across the top that says, may not respond, please expect delays in responses. So it's his out of office message that you see there. If you type in somebody's name and their email address isn't in the system, it'll give you a way to add that email address into the application as well and get that resolved. So some nice functionality here when we're sending emails off through customer service. We got some Copilot stuff here. Again, it's calling out the timeline highlights, which we already talked about in the sales section. It's just over here too. Some things that are unique here to Copilot. Again, sending emails. This one's kind of interesting. We have the pane on the side where it can help me write that first draft of my email. But there's also the ability to do it in line when I'm using the editor. I can ask Copilot questions to be like, summarize how to restart my computer. And it would give me that little summary, and then I can move on to another section. So you kind of have two options: using Copilot in the designer itself as I'm composing the email, or having Copilot in the pane here, and again, getting it to write and summarize that first draft email for me as well. So the rich text editor capabilities within the email editor is pretty cool. Now, we like to check our sources, right? And Copilot's cool and all, but I want to check its sources. So we do have some visibility here too. When Copilot is giving me answers, maybe I'm asking how to just open a printer and restart it or something. It'll give me answers on how to do that. And it's also going to cite its sources. So you can see it's giving me a 1 and a 2 next to clean the auto frother assembly, restarting the machine. So it's giving me that extra information and telling me where it's finding it. So it's telling me resetting the machine, the details where it found that was in this knowledge base article that we have. So again, I can sort of verify, is this actually what I want to say? Can I verify this source? So it's adding that in for, again, those Copilot responses. One thing you may have noticed if you've been using Copilot, it's very fast, it's very cool, but sometimes I have to wait for it to finish typing out everything, and then I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs. Agents don't have to wait for Copilot to generate the entire response before they can start reading it. So again, it'll start chunking that information up so I can start reading while it's still sort of composing that message. So I find that will be a big help. I'm excited for that one. There's also a Teams integration that is possible, so we can invite our customers to join us on Teams without needing an administrator to set anything up for us. So this is generally available as of April 1st, which is really cool. And if you already have Teams, there isn't anything else that you need to do. I will have a join Teams call feature where I can invite that customer to join. My customer doesn't need a Teams license, and any experience using Teams, I can just invite them in and we can start having that conversation to help resolve their issues. So I think that's really nice functionality we've got now too. Unified routing, all about getting those cases where they need to be. We've got a couple of green checks here that are available now. For unified routing, we could get pretty granular, but there was a limit of 100 rules basically that we could set up. And so that has basically doubled. I can now have 200 sort of clauses and things that I'm doing in a single work stream on where I need things to go. So a lot more flexibility to get even more granular. If you found yourself bumping against that limit, it's now been doubled. So that's really nice. We also have something called a skill control. So we can add this skill control to our forms, and with it, call center agents can modify the skills that are attached to a conversation by using the skill control. So we can customize this further so that, again, as an organization, we have greater control over what are the list of skills that are displayed for each conversation. And that'll hopefully reduce the time agents need searching for the right skills. So again, we can use Fetch XML to curate what are the relevant set of skills for this conversation that we are having. So again, link at the bottom of the slide if you're into that, some instructions on how that'll work. All right. Let's talk about customer insights journey. So that marketing functionality that we have. Again, Copilot, we can't escape it. It's going to be everywhere. Again, it's calling out that timeline highlights here, just like we saw in sales, getting that summary on the highlight of the timeline. And then we also have this one that's in preview. I'm still going to talk about it even though it's in preview because it's really cool. And it's a preview you have to sign up for. And it might be a preview you are interested in signing up for. Basically, we are using Copilot to help us launch a marketing journey from concept to launch and make Copilot do all of the heavy lifting for me. Get me at least a really good first draft as I'm starting. So I can use my campaign brief to describe the project and the journey, what our objectives are for this marketing campaign that we have, just using natural language again with Copilot. It will generate audiences or segments that it thinks it would make sense. It can generate messages for the entire campaign and journey. Images it will suggest that we should use. And again, using journeys we've used in the past. So again, using that project description and the data that we already have on marketing initiatives we've had before, Copilot can help me get a really good first draft quickly. And then I'm just using my time to refine the suggestions that Copilot has made for me. So that is some really cool functionality. I've seen a couple of demos on this from Microsoft, exciting stuff. It is in preview now, and you would have to sign up if you want to test this functionality out. So I've added that link to the slide too, if that's something you're interested in getting your hands on more quickly. In customer insights, we also have the section called moments that matter. We've got a few checkboxes here, and it's a long list. So there are actually 2 pages here. Most of these not available yet. We have a couple of items in preview, but let's talk about the things that are generally available now. One is the copies of emails in the timeline. If you're like, wait, I thought it already did that. It does. It shows you the email that was sent. But with this feature switch enabled, sometimes in my emails, I have conditional content, right? Joanna lives in Minnesota. She sees a different image than somebody who lives in Iowa. But I don't know. I know Joanna got this email. I don't necessarily know which version she got, but now I can see that directly in the timeline. So I'll know not only did she get this email, this was the dynamic content that she saw. So this was the email that was generated for Joanna. You would be able to see that in your timeline. Again, easy enough to enable. You just go into your settings area of the Customer Insights app and enable this feature switch. Capture responses from third-party forms. This is also something that is available now. If you've been using a third-party source, content management system, and you like that form design and fields there better, that's okay. You can still use that. What you will create is basically something called a third party form. And you basically set up something called form capture. So what is the information? What can we use to easily get the JavaScript to map those fields from that form to the existing fields that live in Customer Insights journey. So I can use that form to create new leads or new contacts in our Customer Journey Insights application. So I don't have to use the forms. If you have some forms already that you're using, you've just never been able to use them to create leads and contacts, now you can. So again, if that's something you are interested in, have the link at the bottom of the slide there. Ensure messages go to the right email. So out of the box, we have email one, and that's typically right what we use to capture everybody's email addresses. But sometimes we've modified Dataverse to capture more email addresses, and we have a business email address. And maybe a message that I'm sending would make more sense to go to somebody's business email address than their personal email address. So the first thing that we can do now is we can set up something called audience configuration. We kind of always had it, but we can add more into it now and say, I also capture email information in this business email field. I'll add that to my audience configuration. And then when I go to use a journey, so you set up your customer journey with all the email messages that are going out. For each email message, I can say, this one should really go to that business email address. This one coming up, that one could go to their personal email address. So for every email message that you're sending as part of a journey, you can pick which email address you want to do. So again, making sure we're reaching out on the right channel with the right message, we now have some flexibility here, which I think is really cool. We also have some tiles that are available to us. Basically, as a part of a journey, I can have it create a lead record or create an opportunity record. Maybe somebody filled out a form, and so now I feel like, hey, we're ready to move into the opportunity stage. I can add a tile into my journey to say, take this information, create an opportunity. We can also use that to create phone call activities or task activities as well to, again, route that information to the salespeople that we need. This is something in preview, and I wasn't going to cover things in preview, but I'm really excited about this one. In August, not that far away. Summer goes fast, friends. So bots, we hate them. They're not our friends. We can exclude bot interactions when they are clicking on things, and so I don't want to count bot interactions. So we have this setting that is currently in preview, but it is expected again to be generally available in August. I'm excited for that one. How it works, once I turn that feature switch on for bot protection, anytime a link is selected in my email, it's going to go through this intermediate page. Customer Insights Journeys is basically running some checks on that intermediate page to make a determination if this is a human or if this is a bot. So what you can expect once you've turned that on, something you might see, suspected bot clicks are going to be filtered out going forward. So historical data, if bots were clicking on stuff, that's still going to show in my insights for past journeys and emails that I've sent, things along those lines. But any future ones, I might see a drop in my clicks, right? Because we're not counting those bot clicks anymore. But hopefully it's a more accurate picture because I don't want to market to bots. I don't want them to continue on in my journey. So again, you may see a drop in that click rate in your emails or other channels that you're using. But again, it's because we are going to start filtering out those bot interactions. So I think that one's really exciting. It's in preview now, again, but coming soon in August. All right, friends, we have 10 minutes left, and I think I'm only going to need 5. The last one we're going to talk about here is the fundraising and engagement, or for my nonprofit friends on the call, sorry you had to wait until the last 10 minutes. There's not a ton here. In April, we got 3 updates that were basically bug fixes, so not a lot of new functionality here. But if we were creating a donor commitment on that record, it would supposed to pull in the receipt preferences. So if I'm someone, I make a donation, I would prefer my receipt in an email versus a letter. That information wasn't pulling through from a contact record onto a donor commitment, donor commitments being pledges. That's fixed now. So it will pull that information, will work as expected. Another one was with donors' receipt preferences were not populated on registration package records. So that's all about events and people registering for events. Again, when you purchase the event tickets, what kind of receipt did you want? Did you want it in an email or a letter? Again, those should be pulling from defaults on the contact record, and they weren't. But as of April, that is fixed. So it will pull that information in. With registration packages, there was also an issue. So when you're registering someone for an event, if they had an existing credit card dropdown, there was an interface issue where an existing credit card wasn't consistently available. Sometimes the button was there, sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes it was throwing an error message that would put people in an infinite loop. Not really cool. That's fixed now, so that's exciting. So those were 3 kind of bug fixes. I will tell you, poking around, it looks like we will be getting something soon coming about the ability to have grants and the ability to have a way to sort of manage wills. Looks like that's coming. So maybe sort of longer duration. It's going to take a while before I collect on that pledge. So we have some new functionality that I think will be coming soon here, but haven't seen anything released yet. I was just poking around in one of my sandbox environments and noticed some new functionality there that I'm excited to see coming. So that is it. We have done it, friends, and with a few minutes to spare. So thanks again for attending. I want to really encourage you, if you haven't yet, bookmark that release planner, start poring over some of those other things we just didn't have time to cover. And hopefully this got you a little excited about some of those things that we see coming this summer and into fall with some of these Dynamics 365 applications. So again, thanks everybody for coming. Glad to have you here, and we'll see you at our next webinar, hopefully. Have a great rest of your day.